Hey everybody, Seth with Everyman Prepping here. And before we get into the stories I want to talk about, let's talk about what's over my shoulder. For those of you that know, those are potatoes sitting in a southern facing window that are getting ready to chit for spring planting. Got to make sure I say that word chit so you don't say the other word. But anyway, you want to put them in a windowsill 3-4 weeks before they go in the ground. That way they get nice and started growing. Here, I'll grab one really quick. You can see this is a Kennebec. You can see I bought it from actually Tractor Supply. But you want the nice green growth. This is how they came out of the bag. I can probably split this in half and get two separate chitting potatoes out of it. The lighter colored potatoes you see back there are from my own harvest. It's Kennebec also, and I saved them from the year prior. Some ones we don't eat, and they seem to work just fine. But I buy a mix. I buy some new ones and use some old ones just to make sure I have a good harvest. But I got about enough to do. I put them in those canvas bags that I've talked about on the videos before, the 10-gallon canvas bags. I put them in there and grow them. They do well. And then I also do some no-dig method in a couple garden rows. My soil's too clay around here to put them in the dirt, but you put them on top, and then you use straw. Buy straw from a local farmer, and you start covering it. As the potato grows, you put more straw, more and more, and it keeps going up until it gets about 2-3 foot high. And then when it's time to harvest, you just take the straw away, and you got potatoes right on top. There's no digging or anything. That also works great. You don't have to worry about pests too much at all. It's a really good method. So I have enough here to do a couple rows in the garden and about 6 to 8 bags. So if you're in a warmer climate where in mid-March into March you can plant outside your potatoes, it's time to get that south-facing window or your greenhouse and start chitting your potatoes. So that's what I have going on back there. Well, let's get on to what we're talking about today. And please like, share the video, comment, all that great stuff. Subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate everything you guys do for the community. But, yesterday's video was, NATO sending troops into Ukraine. It's going to happen. And then we have, this response from Putin today. Basically, Russia will go to war with NATO if troops are deployed to Ukraine, says the Kremlin. So huge pushback, a lot of pushback, a lot of, threats from Russia. And then you got NATO today going, whoa, we're not doing that. We're not sending troops. Germany's like, no way. United States, no, we're not doing that. France, though, is still going, we're probably going to still send troops. But a lot of pushback. And I think what you saw here, and the Slovakian prime minister was saying, Western countries are going to send troops. I think what you have here is basically kind of like a negotiating technique or, mediation where you say something outrageous that you're not going to get so you can get other stuff, so you can kind of mission creep this to where you want to end up. So, the countries NATO come out with, we're sending combat troops. Then Russia, replies with the way you expect, saying, we're going to go to war if you do that. Then okay, well, we won't be doing that, but those long-range missiles that Ukraine's been wanting, we can probably send those now because that's definitely not as bad as combat troops, and Russia probably won't go to war over that. So look for long-range missiles to be coming very soon, either from Germany, France, United States, to go deeper and deeper into Russia. Then what will happen, they'll probably say, you know what? Those France, you're talking about non-combat. Why don't we just send the non-combat troops? They really can't complain about that. Truck drivers, some medics, maybe some wrench turners to repair all the stuff. We'll just send those guys in. They're not going to be directly engaging the Russians, so they should be okay with that. Then after that will come, combat troops. They'll be like, you know what? Ukraine, there's no chance Ukraine's winning this thing. If we don't send combat troops and our own pilots and tankers and all that stuff, there's absolutely no way this can go through, so we better just send our combat troops. And then eventually that's when this happens. Boom. That's when that's going to happen. That's where we're headed right now, unless someone in the West wises up, backs down, and says, you know what? We could probably do a peace deal with Russia. Let them hold the lands they're at now, because Russia's taking land right now, and Ukraine is retreating, and they're going to keep taking land. So you could probably do a peace deal, say, hey, Russia, why don't you keep what you have, and you'll probably be happy with it. And then, Ukraine won't be in NATO, and it'll be kind of just a buffer zone in there. Something like a DMZ will be formed, like in Korea, and then we cannot go to nuclear war. So let's hope that happens. But I think that's what happened with the rhetoric between NATO sending troops. Now they're like, no, they won't. They're going to try to creep this into troops eventually. But, we got to start with the long-range missiles, the non-combats, and so forth. So there's some more detail on yesterday's video. But let's talk a little more also about today. And then we have this. We have the Islamic resistance, from Iranian support, Hezbollah. They basically launched some missiles into, about 16 kilometers deep or about 10 miles into Israel. causing fatalities and injuries into the industrial area. Let me see if we can blow this up so you can watch it a little bit. But you can see that's a pretty good strike by Hezbollah. It took out a lot of infrastructure. Like I said, there's some injuries and casualties and all that. And if we look here, let's go back to a map here, and you'll be able to see. I have a little white line here that's showing. I think I have this plane. Let me shut that off. All right, let's go back. So you can see. Let me zoom out. You can see this white line here is the border between Lebanon, where Hezbollah in the south here, and Israel. And then I have this little scale here that shows about 10 miles or 16 kilometers. And this is the area they attacked in red here. They attacked somewhere in here. I don't know the exact location, but I just went from the middle, drew a line about 10 miles. You can see, yes, they hit within there. So that's the furthest they've hit, I believe. Hezbollah done major damage. And if you took this and you swung this arc, you can see, this 10-mile, arc. You can see there's a lot of settlements. There's a lot of infrastructure that, they could hit in there. Especially if you, brought it further over, let's say over here, then you want to go 10 miles or so. That's about down right around here. That's a lot of stuff they could attack. So look for this, like we always say, to further escalate, because they can go deeper and deeper into Israel. So Israel's going to want to retaliate pretty harshly about this. And here's some more video. It looks basically the same, but same video. And then something else strange that came up. There was a fact. Now that's not the West Bank. So this is talking about the West Bank now. It says there's a factory on fire in the West Bank. I don't know how it started, what happened to it, but according to the post here, it says Israel was saying there's a factory on fire, but Palestine won't let us help. According to the Israel Civil Defense, it says we see the fire's out of control. It should be noted that earlier today, an appeal was made to Palestine, the Palestinians, to request assistance from Israel in firefighting the operations, and so far no permission has been received from the security forces for the Israeli fire engines to enter and assist in the firefighting. This is pretty incredible, you think about it. Israel is saying, we're not going to help put out this fire because you haven't given us permission to go in the West Bank. Daily, Israel goes into the West Bank with tanks and dozers and troops with zero permission to arrest people, tear up infrastructure, do whatever they're doing that they think is what they need to do over there, whether each side you're on is legitimate or not. But they go in there, like I said, almost daily, almost every night, and they, without permission, and do what they got to do. So now they're saying, oh, you didn't give us permission to help you put this fire, so we can't go in. That's just a ridiculous stance by Israel, and not looking good for them at all. I mean, hearts and minds of people, shouldn't you just go in there and help put the fire out and all that? I don't know, but saying you can't go in there without permission, yet you go in there with combat troops daily, not a great look. Anyway, moving on. Lastly, let's go to this. This is out of the Zero Hedge here. And the IAEA is saying that Iran has enough near weapons grade uranium for almost 3 nuclear weapons. Okay. I'm under the belief that Iran already has nuclear weapons. If they're out there saying they have enough for 3, almost enough for 3, I'm assuming they're telling us this because they already have some. They're kind of just slow walking it in. It says the IAEA head Rafael Grossi on Monday said, public statements made in Iran regarding its technical capabilities to produce nuclear weapons have only served to increase concerns about the correctness and completeness of Iran's safeguards and declarations. That just means to me that they already have nuclear weapons, and the IAEA missed it, whatever. But they also came out saying this: Iran reduced its stockpile of near weapons-grade nuclear material over the past 3.5 months. The United Nations Atomic Watchdog said Monday a surprise step likely to be welcomed by Western countries who have been alarmed by Iran's buildup of highly enriched uranium or nuclear fuel. And then it goes on to say, like I said, Iran still has enough for 3 nuclear warheads. Has anybody ever thought maybe that their stockpile of near weapons grade has been lowered because it's been put into weapons, maybe, refined into weapons grade, and it's gone now because it's now sitting in nuclear weapons? That's why there's less of it. Maybe they're hiding it better. But the fact that this is welcomed by Western countries is a ridiculous statement. They're trying to pacify the situation about this, but I think, I know when people say you assume, you make an ass out of you and me things, but I think we'll go ahead and assume this, that let's just, from this point forward, take it for granted that Iran probably has nukes and they're just waiting for the right time to either launch them at Israel, put them in one of those cargo vessels that we saw on a video a few days ago where they can fire missiles out of a cargo ship and launch them at the United States, put an EMP out there, whatever. It's all going to be about timing, but let's go and assume that is what is going on. Short video today. That's what I have for you. Put in the comments below any reaction to anything in here. If you're doing some chitting your potatoes, how do you do it? These things I have here, these little containers that I have them resting in. A lot of people use egg cartons, but what I have here is we buy some apples at Costco during the winter, and they come in these things. They work perfect for this. Helps keep them off the table. Air can get around them, aim them towards the sunlight. So if you have something like that, that works great. Repurpose things, reuse them. That's what we always look for as preppers. Anyway, that's all I have for you. Hopefully you got something out of it. Until next time, keep your ear to the ground and head on a swivel.